Do again like we do. I'm going to mute everybody. Just unmute yourself, please, as you want to share something. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So the flow of the Maamar. Good morning, everybody. The flow of the Maamar so far. So the basic question was why Yehoshua, when addressing the people before his death and for the purpose of getting their commitment, a new kind of covenant. And we quote this at the beginning of in the Haggadah. So why does he state the obvious that Hashem had taken your forefathers, they were idolaters, and then taken them from the other side of the river and brought them to the land of Canaan? And the Zohar asked this question. It's patently obvious, so why is he stating it? And the primary point of the Zohar is that he took them from the supernal river. The other Me'evar Anor means Nahara Ilah. He chose them, the Zohar says earlier, made them a chariot for him. It's also critical, that point, and took them from that supernal river. So the first ice here, which we're not going to repeat again, it was a very nuanced and great depth and detail. And the point was to identify the level of the neshama, and it comes from the other side of the river, higher than the river being machshava, and the neshama comes from the level of Eden, which is chachma, and higher still, tira hilah. And then he went to the whole arichas why the neshama is referred to at its highest levels as tahira, as pure, which implicit in pure is the possibility of impurity in the relationship with impurity, and surely kodesh, which implies something fundamentally removed from creation altogether, would be the appropriate term. And there was a whole arichas there, and as we understood it, it meant that the neshama, in its very original inception, is already invested with the ability to engage finitude and therefore impurity and transform it, being that is the pnimius hakavana, the ultimate inner intent of creation, that this world, the world where this tumah become a dwelling place for him, which the neshama is to realize and bring about. Pnimius atik. There's lots of arichas there. Bottom line is, that's where the neshamas come from. I took you from there and then brought you to the land of Canaan, which is Malchus. And there, as the Zohar says, the Avos were a merkava to Hashem, even as they were in this world. Each limb merely used to carry out the divine will. And that is bequeathed to their children forever. And that's what the Maamar is now going to continue explaining, the avodah of the Avos, and how this is bequeathed to every yid thereafter. And then you'll explain also why Yehoshua has to make this point at this juncture in history. And I think we said it because it's now that they're engaging in Dida B'Tachtonim in a very, very real way. Now the mission begins. There was still work to be done in the land of Canaan. There was still idolatry to contend with and impurity. And they become a nation and have to affect the world. So he reiterates and reveals, it's actually a nevuah, reveals to the Yidden that they have the ability, because they should know who they are, what their neshama is, where it comes from, and what they're inheriting. And this should therefore inspire them, make them realize that they have the ability to contend with the world and the great mission that lays before them, culminating, of course, in the whole world becoming a Dira Leis brother. Okay? Fair enough? That was a summary of where we are. Yeah? Okay. Vinyan Bazer. So the matter is the Hilyomer Razal. So the Zohar had said that Eibishter made them for a chariot, and that's reflective of Omer Razal, that which it says in Medrash, that her Avos brought in Tanya and extensively in Chassidus, right? Avos hein markava. The Avos, they are verily, literally, double lashon here, which means nothing other than a markava, a chariot to Hashem. Also implied here is that the Merkava that Yecheskel sees and Yeshayahu Navi, see, the others embodied that. They're a truer Merkava than the Merkava that they saw. Because that's the Hein. The Merkava that they saw, the heavenly chariot and the angels. Well, of course, the angels are vehicles for Hashem. They have no choice. There's no bchira. The others here in this world, through the great Avodah, Hein Merkava. That's the true Merkava. Now details. Haino Shegim Others Avram, Yitzchak, VaYaakov. So the three forefathers ain't couldn't others Ela L'Shloisha. As the Gemara says, when we say the word others, we mean all three. And more to the point, we only mean those three. Of course, you have many fathers. But when we say fathers, we don't mean the Shvatim or certainly anybody after that, but only the original others. So they were Hoya Merkava, as Chassidus explains, because their Avodah is bequeathed to every Jew. Lav Dafka, the Avodah of the Shvatim. It doesn't belong to every Jew. Each Shevet had its own unique, particular Avodah. However, the Yaakov are others, fathers, in the sense that their Avodah now becomes the Avodah, and we inherit this from them. So what were they? Hoyu Merkava lebchinas Chagaz d'Atzilus. They were Merkava to Chesed Gvura Tiferes of Atzilus. Avram hoyu Merkava lebchinas Chesed. Avram was a Merkava to the level of Chesed. Kedisa b'Sefer Rabbi, which we've quoted many times, this early Kabbalah Sefer. Omra midas Chesed lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There he writes that the divine attribute of Chesed said before Hashem. Since Avram traverses the land, since he's around, I'm not required to do my inyan, which is to reveal your chesed. You don't need this attribute. Because Avram stands literally and serves in my stead. Shenemar vayishme mishmarti, as the pasuk says about Avram, that he kept my covenant, or my mishmarti, literally my warnings, but it means here faithful servant. And the Friedrich explains in several Marim Sichos. This is brought down in Hayom Yom. The following quote: this that Avram down here, he replaced through his avodas midas chesed. This is not simply the same as the midah of chesed, but rather what he revealed down here is more than is revealed in chesed, that's in atzilus. And that's why the Sefer Rabbi describes the story conveying some kind of envy. The envy property means to convey. The story phrases it that way, rather than simply stating that he did what Chesed Atzilus does. Chesed Atzilus is kind of complaining, and I don't have to do my avodah. This is all metaphoric language. But what it conveys is the envy, the recognition that the avodah of Chesed that Avram does down here is far deeper than the Chesed expressed in Olam Atzilus. Clear? For the obvious reason. Yeah.
A quick question. Does that mean that when you say he was in Merkava, that means he was below Chesed, and he became a Merkava to Chesed, and in fact he reached even higher, and that's why Chesed of Atzilus was jealous of him? Where was Avram's place? And is his shirish in Chagas of Atzilus, or is his shirish a little lower and he became a Merkava to higher?
No. His shirish, the ultimate shirish, as we looked in the previous ois, is higher.
Right, but
his identity, his avodah was that he revealed Chesed Atzilus. However, now the Rebbe adds and he embodied that midah. In other words, as the neshama descends into Ishtalshalos, each neshama assumes a unique and very descriptive and finite hardcore identity. The neshamas descend from machshava kadum da'at, which is this primal, essential pnimis hakavana that expresses atmas ein sof, as you said in the previous ois, the details, the oisius. But at any rate, that's the ultimate source where all neshamas are equal. Then the neshamas then descend. There's no differentiation there between one neshama and the other. But then the neshamas descend into ishtalshalos, each one assuming its own identity. So Avram Avinu's neshama, as it descends into ishtalshalos, becomes and assumes the form of Chesed Atzilus. That's its identity, which she expresses. Now that
does that mean that I don't think you answered my question.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
Okay.
Second, I'm just finished.
Finish the coffee.
However, the Rebbe now adds, this is the point here from the Fidige Rebbe, that it's not simply that Lamata Avram Avinu reveals Chesed Atzilus because his neshama is rooted in much higher than Atzilus. And as we learned in the previous ois, and we kind of mentioned this morning in our summary, the neshama at its very deepest levels is already factored into it, this union of gvul and tumah even, hence tahira he. Therefore, when he does chesed in Elam Hazeh, that's far beyond the chesed of Atzilus. The chesed of Atzilus is an unchallenged, pure, simple expression of Hashem's chesed. But the chesed that he reveals in Elam Hazeh, where there is the choice to do otherwise, there's chesed de klipa, and there's all kinds of challenges. And moreover, what's the first challenge? Who to do chesed to idol worshippers who worship the dust on their feet. Even to them he brings chesed. So he's mamshich and revealing in chesed the true bligvul, the atzmis dike bligvul that is present, latent in everything, because everything comes from atzmus. But in his avodah, he reveals that so his chesed is a true infinite chesed, a chesed reflective of the pnimius hakavana, and that is dirib tachtonim. In other words, in Atzilus, you look at chesed, the pnimius hakavana is not evident there. In fact, Atzilus is quite content to be Atzilus. And moreover, any neshamas, they don't want to leave Atzilus and go to Elam Hazeh, which is the world of Cheshach and Klippus and Tumah. But when the neshama comes down here and does the avodah of Chesed, which is Avram, and then we'll see Yitzchak, the avodah of Gvuda, and Yaakov Tiferes. So this is far beyond that identity that the neshama has assumed in this lofty plane of Atzilus. Coming down the Mata unlocks its Sheirish HaNeshama, which is higher than Atzilus. All right, we kind of answered your question.
No, but it's okay. We say the Shvatim hang out in Bria, but they became a Merkava to Malchus of Atzilus. They become a Merkava to something higher, l'chayre. So the question is, where is Abram before he became a Merkava? Once he becomes a Merkava, we know what you addressed today, what he accomplished. He became a Merkava to Chesed, and he tapped in even higher and brought it down even lower. Where was his original source? Is his original source in Chagas Atzilus, or is his original source is lower than Chagas Atzilus?
Higher.
That is the question.
Higher, as I answered. Higher.
No. Okay.
Him, like everybody else.
But the Shvatim ended up in Bria. Where did the others end up?
But the Shvatim, hang on. The Sherish of the Shvatim, like every single Yid, period, in history, is all in the level described earlier, the Pnimius HaKavana, Pnimius Ak. Everybody. That's the ultimate. There's two Sherishes, in other words. There's the ultimate Sherish, and again, at that level, there's no differentiation. It's just like one neshama almost. It's almost one neshama, of which we all emerge from. That's the ultimate Sherish. Then there's the direct traceable Sherish. What level of sophistication, what character traits does this particular Yid have? So the Avos Atzilus, as you say, the Shvatim Bria. We are found somewhere in Malchus, the Malchus of Asiyah. However, what's true of all Neshamas is coming down to this world and doing Avodah, we unlock the Etzem HaNeshama. Call it Yechida level, call it Pnimius Ak level, And the paradox is actually that the lower the neshamas go, and therefore the more difficult their avodah, the less inspired they are, the less they're endowed with very deep minds and responsive hearts, and the avodah is more kabbalas oil, the foot soldier, that's us. So the paradox is that the lower the neshamas go, the deeper really they reveal the etzem neshama. The deeper. Now, what you're talking about is a related thing that in you're talking about Kriyas Yamsuf, which was Achana from Matan Torah, that the neshamas of the Shvatim were elevated to Olam Atzilis. That is a Hachana to receive Torah and mitzvahs, wherein after through avodah they go far beyond Atzilis. When we do mitzvahs and mamshich atzmus in sof lamata, the reason we're able to do that because we're rooted there, and that's what avodah does. And again, paradoxically, the lower neshamas actually touch yichud tato. That's the previous maamer, the chiddush of that. Lois nifleis gedolos levadoi, that the mamash the levadoya are those ployim that come in teva, completely in the hell of a hester. That's the repeated, endless paradox. The dafke lamatan, dafke the lower neshamas, through avodah, kabbalas oil, in their dogged commitment, stubborn commitment, despite everything pulling us in every other direction. So we truly transform the world in the deepest way, and mamshech atzmus ein sof, and therefore the jealousy of midas chesed is in a way greater, but in a way not, because on the one hand, chesed of Atzilus looks at Avram and says, "But you're me. You started off kind of with me, and then you've gone way beyond me." So that's kind of an envy, because they were in the same class. And then Avram went lamata and revealed the Eibusher's chesed on a whole new level. I wouldn't say that Midas Chesed is jealous of the lower neshamas. It's more than that's astounded. Wouldn't be jealous of us, but in a state of absolute astonishment that simple Yidden, you and I down here, are mamshech atzmus ein sof, through acts of chesed and acts of gevurah, etc., no less than Avram. In fact, greater than Avram, because we're post Matan Torah. But that wouldn't be a jealousy. That would be just a simple astonishment, which all Ishtalshalis is constantly astonished at what Yidden do down here. In a constant, that's what Chavedim Makshivim L'Koilech, they're coming to hear. They know, they figured it out already, that the true connection is Leilam Hazeh, what a Yid learns and paskins and struggles with down here. Yeah, so we'll go further with Avram. Yeah. Vahainu. Everybody's with me, folks. Yeah. Vahainu, we're just about the number 28 in the text. So Avram's Avodah was in the kav, literally the line, what's your line? Of Chesed, Kedis, Sefer Orchis Tzadikim, like it says in the Sefer Orchis Tzadikim. Looks like it's also early Kabbalah work. Avram Hoyen the Div Nodiv. Avram was a giver, a benefactor. The Nafshe Begufay B'Memoinai. His very soul, his guf, and with his possessions. And that's what the Torah describes about him. His journeys this way. He traveled and journeyed towards the south, and south is north is Gvura and south is Chesed. Yitzchak was a Merkava to Gvura. Because of, like it says, Pachad Yitzchak, the dread of Yitzchak, referring actually to Hashem. The Pachad, the Midas Gvura, dread is an expression of Gvura. As it's known, Shem Kabbalim Arishonim, the early Kabbalim, Koros Hamida Hashniya B'Shem Pachad. We didn't call it Gvura, they called it Pachad. See the part of this. Footnote 31. And what did he do? He dug wells, which is Shepol Bavedos Lagalis Samayim Chusim. He effected through his avodah to reveal the hidden waters. Mayim Chayim. These are the living waters. This is the highest form of mikveh. It's not a collection of water, which is also mikveh, but it's not good enough for the extreme forms of tumah. You need mayim chaim, living waters, shenevim b'lamata l'mayla, which come from above, from below to above. That's the avodah of gvura. It's the gvura, which is the avodah of the birah of the mata from below to above. That is the avodah of Yitzchak. Yaakov merkava l'midas hatiferes. Yaakov is a merkava, a vehicle for tiferes. Haklula mechesed, the gvura which incorporates both. Mishakosov, like he said, Elikei Avi Avram, the God of my father Avram, the Pachad Yitzchak, and here's the reference: Pachad Yitzchak, and the one in whom Yitzchak was in dread of. That's what it means. Both referring to Hashem. Hoyali stood by me, says Yaakov, who is invoking both, because he was the embodiment of both. Shehu ingen hatiferes shekol mechesed hagvura. It's tiferes. What did he do? Shelokach maka livne lach veluz ve'armoin. So these are what's the word in English? Poplar sticks and hazelnut sticks. And he made white streaks in them. Now these branches were different colors, white and brown. What he's doing here is the fusion of white and dark. Chesed and Gvura. These different colors, these contrasting colors, and he peels from the dark and reveals the white inside. So that is Inyan Atiferes. Clear? Yeah, we see the connection there. That's what we find also. We're now page 6. What did he say to his children when they went down to Mitzrayim? That's when Golos began. In other words, so he's now giving them, what's your shlichus? The whole shlichus of the neshama coming down to the world is Golos. Even at the best of times, it's a Golos. So now they're going down to Mitzrayim. What did he say? And may the all-powerful God grant you mercy. So he invokes the inyan of Rachamim, Racham hu inyan Tiferes. Compassion or mercy, that is Tiferes. Compassion is different to Chesed, as we all know, right? Chesed is unconditional giving, and compassion is, Chesed doesn't have empathy. Chesed just gives. You need, you get. There's no putting yourself in the other person's position, etc. But Tiferes does, and Tiferes therefore takes into account deficiencies and lacks thereof, and all of the situation, your matzah, the protis, the pnimius, and then will give if it's appropriate. So that's going to help you and stir you and inspire you, etc. That's because it's an atzmizdike thing. Tiferes, in order to fuse Chesed and Gevura, you got to be beyond both, and in that beyond both, in other words, beyond the limits of each one individually, there's this transcendent state, and in that transcendent state, you can truly empathize with the other. That's Tiferes. That is Yaakov.
We said the Avodah of Gevura is Mata L'mayla. What does that mean?
In general, the mind will go further, but in general, it means the elevation of and engaging the Gashmis and refining it. Avram's inyan is more mamshich kedusha.
What does that have to do with Gevura?
Because that's Gevura says nobody gets anything. You have to deserve it. You've got to elevate yourself. Midas adin. In a relationship with God, you've got to refine yourself and reach out and want it and elevate yourself. So that's Gevura midas adin. And Chesed says, we'll bring it to you. You don't have to elevate yourself. So Gevura, as we spoke about, perhaps you weren't here, Gevura, the physical embodiment of Gevura in this world, in nature, is fire, which ascends and is produced by the surrender of the fuel. If there's nothing being surrendered, then there's nothing produced. You haven't given up anything. You haven't refined anything. The process of refinement requires generally heat and fire to separate and to refine and remove the dross. Whereas Chesed the physical embodiment is water, which comes down, just flows down to it'll find the lowest level, and it'll give everybody everything uncompromised. That's pure chesed. Pure chesed is everybody everything. Gevura is nobody anything unless you deserve it. It's pure chesed, pure gevura. So it's melamata l'mayla. So the world has to be refined. It's not a free lunch. So let's go a little further. Finish the eyes. So now we've described in brief how each of the office was a merkava to another one of the midas, the primary midas of Atzilus. In the chil of name, they bequeathed this to their children. That we too, incredibly enough, can be b'chinas merkava la midas chagas. And as he said before, the emes is not only to chagas of Atzilus, but like Atzilus expressed its envy, far beyond the midas as they are in Atzilus, and we can reveal that and connect to Hashem at its very deep level here in this world as a merkava.